Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville's online worship. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn, and I'm very pleased to be your Director of Music Ministries. Welcome to our online worship. Our collaborative pianist is, as always, Holling Smith-Bourne, and we'll be hearing from him in just a few minutes. If you're watching live, you'll see buttons that will bring you to our website and all the information that you need to follow along with the worship service. If you're watching our replay on YouTube or Facebook, you can visit firstuunash.org and click on the With You Worship portal button for the joys and concerns, the order of service, and our offering button. Welcome. I'd like to invite you to join me in singing or dancing to our opening song, number 311, Let It Be a Dance by Rick Maston. This song's original video indicates that it was a very spoken word song, so if singing isn't your thing, this might be a great song for you to participate with. Won't you join me? Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong with nothing's right, let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sun shine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance. Good morning. I hope you'll take a moment to center yourselves in your heart and connect with all of those worshiping with us online this morning. If you're so inclined, you can say hello in the chat and let us know that you're here. We love to see that you're worshiping with us this morning.
Our chalice lighting this morning was written by Maureen Killoran. As the kindling of this chalice calls us to community, let there be light. As the flame of this chalice reminds us of our values, let there be light. As the glow of this chalice encourages us to hope, let there be light.
I'd like to invite you to join your hearts and minds in the spirit of worship with these words by enfleshed. To become is a lifelong process. Nothing is constant, not even the self. This lifelong labor cannot be carried out alone. It requires help from friends and lovers, families and creaturely companions who bear witness to what makes us come alive and say to us, listen, look, feel, pay attention to that. This is loving and being loved. Telling the stories, sharing the memories, giving thanks for the relationships, understandings, and experiences past that have shaped us to this day. This is loving and being loved. Welcome. Kitty, monkey, where are you? Where are you? It's the magic screen is on there. People want to see you. Hi, monkey. Where's Kitty? Come on, what's going on? We're not talking to you. We're not talking to you anymore. Where's Kitty? Kitty is not going to talk to you. Why? Because we're angry at you. Come on, we got to find Kitty. Kitty, where are you? Oh, look. Kitty's in my packing box. Come on, Kitty. Come on. People want to say hi. You're angry at me because I'm moving? Yeah. Yeah, you're packing boxes and you really are going and you didn't even ask me if you could go and look at all those cards. People have been sending cards goodbye. We don't want to say goodbye. Pissed. Oh, I can hear that. You're really angry at me. You don't want to talk to me. And that makes me sad because I am leaving and I'm going to miss you. And I want to talk to you now before we go. I've been wondering, do you have any memories you want to share with me? I liked it when we sang the Hokey Pokey. Did you? I loved it when we sang the Hokey Pokey. Let's sing the Hokey Pokey. Okay, what was your favorite verse? Oh, I know my favorite verse. It was this one. Put your paw in, put your paw out, put your paw in, shake it all about, do the hokey pokey, turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. What about you, monkey? You have a favorite verse? You can't do this one. Put your tail in, put your tail out, put your tail in and shake it all about. Do the hokey pokey, turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. I know my favorite one. Can I sing it? Yeah, you can. Okay. Put your whole self in, put your whole self out, put your whole self in, shake it all about. Do the hokey pokey and turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. Oh, I liked having memories. Let's have more memories in the next 2 weeks. Soon enough, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Okay, now let's say goodbye just for this week. We'll see you next week. Everybody out there, bye. Bye, we love you.
Good morning. My name is Denise Couch, and I have the great pleasure of serving as the assistant minister of this congregation. It is my pleasure to welcome you to worship. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I would like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. All are welcome to attend our services, and people become members of this congregation by signing the membership book and supporting the church with their time and finances. If you are considering joining the church, please contact me. I am the Assistant Minister for Congregational Engagement. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website, and I would love to hear from you. Following the service, we hope everyone will enjoy at least one of the opportunities for fellowship listed in our online worship portal. There are many announcements posted on our website, which I hope you will read, and I have been asked to highlight a few more. Our beloved community committee has posted some resources related to Black Lives Matters on our website. They are right under the very, right on the front page of the website. You can find them. If you click on the Black Lives Matter banner there, you'll find all sorts of things that you might find helpful right at this moment. We would love for you to join us at our annual congregational meeting next Sunday, immediately following the 9 a.m. WebinarJam service. The meeting is at 10 o'clock on Zoom. Links to join the Zoom meeting and for meeting materials will be posted on our website. Today, please join us to celebrate a physically distant goodbye to Gail on Zoom between noon and 3 p.m. During this time, you'll have a chance to say goodbye and share memories of Gail's time at First UU. This is an open house style event, so you are welcome to come and go as you please. The link to join the event on Zoom is posted on our website, www.firstuunash.org, for your convenience. We hope to see you there this afternoon. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. For the month of June, our Share the Plate partner is Nashville Launchpad, an organization working with youth and young adults experiencing homelessness. You can read more about their work inside the worship portal at firstuunash.org. For now, while we are meeting entirely online, we have no ushers to pass you the offering bowls, but our fabulous finance and communication folks have made sure that anyone, anytime, can access our online donation form on our website. If you would like to mail a check to the church, please write in the memo line how you would like your donation to be used. If you want your gift to be credited to your pledge, please write pledge. If you write Sunday offering, it will be donated to our Share the Plate partner. In this season of virtual offering bowls, we are especially grateful for the steady generosity which allows us both within and beyond the congregation to continue creating community, nurturing spiritual growth, and acting on our values. We are also deeply, deeply grateful for your presence with us. And I invite you now to join in our weekly ritual of gathered community. Following the upcoming musical interlude, we will share the joys and concerns submitted through the online form, provided permission is given on that form. All joys and concerns will be shared as usual with our lay ministry team. So I invite you now to become present to yourself. Take a deep breath. Settle your body in the sacred space that you have created around you simply by being here and joining with us in this service of worship. And as you breathe, as you reflect upon where you are and how you are connected with the world all around you, as we are connected with each other, you may become aware of joys and concerns that you have brought to this moment from the preceding hours and days. And I invite you to be with those joys, those concerns, those worries, the prayers you have for the world, large and small, in which you move. If you would like to share those with us, you will have a chance during the musical interlude to use that form on our website, or you may prefer to just join, knowing that all of us together now are listening. Let us listen. Thank you, Holly. We have a number of joys and concerns today. Let's see. Ibba and Tom Surface have a joy on the birth of our granddaughter, Evelyn Faye Schober, on May 17th. She and her family are all doing well. We're so glad to celebrate with y'all. And from Evelyn Cotton, I have, let's see, I'll do the joy first. I just built a car and a house and a temple in Minecraft. Sounds like fun. And also from Evelyn Cotton, a concern. I'll see if I can read it the way she would like. I will miss you so much, Gail, when you leave. And I know that goes for more of us than just Evelyn. Evelyn and Christopher Cotton together submitted the same thing. We will miss you so much, Gail. Lisa Anderson has a concern for a friend who is facing knee replacement surgery next week with uncertainty as to the date. We will keep that surgery awaiting person in mind. I know medical things are not as usual right now. Addie 9 submits what is both a joy and a concern. Reverend Gail is leaving us for now. We love you. Maria Cottingham has submitted a joy. She says, I am grateful to the beloved community for providing a space for discussion about concrete action to support protesters and to change our community for the better. Mary Irresolved shares both a joy and a concern. Filled with grief for our Minneapolis communities and Black and Brown communities all over the U.S., pride in the Nashville activism community, joy for the growing solidarity among us in the face of injustice, concern that we center Black leadership moving forward. Ron and Paul Turner have sent all the best to us from way up in Albany, New York. Thanks, Gail, for all you have done for First UU Nashville. You will be missed. Susie Vickers, sharing both a joy and a concern. 2020 is causing a lot of people to wake up, and I'm glad that people are really starting to get behind Black Lives Matter. My heart goes out to the families and friends of those that we have lost. Sherry DiGiovanna shares a joy. She's grateful once again to Vanderbilt ER for saving my life, and we are all grateful indeed for that. Candy Toller shares this concern and suggestion. Pray for understanding among all races. Silka Shada has a joy. It has been a joy to join in the Black Lives Matter marches this week. It gives me hope to see so many people fighting for change. Rachel Rogers writes this. My heart has been so full this week witnessing the incredible swell of people marching in the streets around the world demanding justice. I am filled with love for the many people I have witnessed who have had watershed moments as they join this fight for the first time. Also, this week I received aspirant status from the Ministerial Credentialing Office of the UUA. humbled to be continuing my journey towards ministry with the sponsorship of this congregation. And that is a thing of joy for all of us in this congregation, Rachel. Bob Day has this joy. Thanks to Gail for devoting the last 15 years to our congregation, and blessings for her retirement. May the coming years be happy and fulfilling. Elizabeth Jesse has a concern. My talented, smart, creative mentor who helped me navigate my academic career is experiencing bullying and meanness. I am praying she will find her strength to find her way. Holding all of this so very much in this moment that we are living now. These joys and concerns, sorrows that have been expressed and shared, and those that we hold still unspoken in our hearts. Let us join together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love. Love that holds us in this moment as in every moment. We gather today online, across space, across time, knowing that we live right now in a very particular moment. We pray for the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the compassion to live this moment so that it is not just a moment that passes without moving all of us closer toward the world we wish, we desire, we hope and long to live in. That we use this moment to shift what needs shifting, to destroy what needs to be moved aside so that better, more just, more loving ways of being community can emerge among us. We ask that each of us have what we most need to settle ourselves so that we can discern the ways in which we can most skillfully act in this moment, refrain from acting, speak and refrain from speaking, write and refrain from writing, move and refrain from moving, to leave space for more love, more justice, more compassion, safety, and flourishing for all. Blessed be. May we be so. Amen.
As I prepare to leave, pack my boxes, and have so many memories in this time where more and more people are joining in the long battle and white supremacy culture. I cannot help think of one of my elders, James Luther Adams, who was a great prophetic voice through the 1920s, through World War II, and was an elder when I was at school, whom we literally sat at his feet. And he taught us how to do justice for the long haul. And so I'm going to spend a couple minutes, maybe, as long as I ever do a reading, to read to you from his writings, because it's really, I would say, the mission statement, my mission statement as a minister, that I was taught and I've been trying to pass on to you. It's from an essay he wrote called From Cage to Covenant. Liberal religion's attitude of mind we generally characterize as a critical stance before mere tradition, impatience with creeds once and for all delivered, the rejection of coercion in religion, freedom of conscience, open-mindedness, tolerance, the liberation of the human spirit from heteronomous authorities. The road to hell is paved with good attitudes. These are beautiful attitudes, but attitudes alone do not make or change history. They require institutional embodiment. Indeed, the liberal attitudes mentioned appeared initially in the 17th century in connection with a power struggle undertaken in order to change social structures. This struggle was a revolutionary institutional struggle, a struggle against the cage of centralized power in church and state and economic order. Congregational polity was the new conception of a covenanted church that gave form to this struggle, a polity separating from the church from the state, placing responsibility upon the members, the consent of the governed, and giving rise to self-governing congregations. But during the past century, our society has been moving in the opposite direction, in the direction of a new centralization of power. Now, in the 19th century, liberal religion promoted these tendencies by emphasizing an atomistic individualism that, in a technological society, produced the modern industrial corporation with its oligopoly and with even greater power than the government. A major question today in a world of multinational corporations is how to achieve a separation of power and consent of the governed, a self-governing society in the midst of corporate structures that are rapidly becoming a new cage. So we have moved from cage to cage. In that connection, the doctrine of covenant may be a conception in which we should give systematic consideration. So what are the major ingredients of a covenant? And this is what we try to practice every day here in this congregation, isn't it? 1, human beings individually and collectively become human by making commitments, by making promises. 2, the covenant is a covenant of being. It is a covenant with the creative, sustaining, transforming powers which may be interpreted theistically, non-theistically, and humanistically. 3, the covenant is for the individual as well as for the collective. The individual is brought out of separateness into covenant. We are responsible not only for individual behavior, but also for the character of that society. 4, the covenant responsibility is especially directed toward the deprived. 5, that covenant is not fundamentally a legal covenant. It depends upon faithfulness, and faithfulness is nerved by loyalty, by love. So ends our reading. And so I invite you to carry this reading into the work of today. JLA, as we call them, James Luther Adams, he did a lot of research, biblical research. Much of what he learned about covenant came from the Hebrew Bible. And he reminded me, his teachings reminded me that what we're doing today, saying goodbye, having memories, and looking at our covenant was taught in a story from thousands of years ago about a leader named Moses. Moses had been one of the leaders that took the Israelites out of an authoritarian rule for them. It was slavery in Egypt to a promised land to be self-governed. But they had to wander for 40 years in the desert to learn how to do covenant so that they could be self-governed. And they come to a plateau where they're overlooking the promised land across a great river. And Moses says to them, I can't go there with you. I am old. I am dying. And he was a whole lot older than I was. He was more than 100 years old. And he said, but before we go, we have to do before you go and I stay, we have to do a few things. We have to remember our time together, learning this covenant and what that covenant was. We need to pick a new leader. And then we must say goodbye, because you're going into the promised land without me, with that new leader. And there you will develop a new covenant, because it'll be a new life. So today, we're going to reflect on that. And I'd like us to begin by giving you a few moments in reflection or meditation to consider the ways that we've lived our covenant, the ways we have been companions for a while on our lifelong journeys of becoming our truest selves, companions bearing witness to one another about what makes us come alive. Who have been your companions? What have you promised one another? What are the stories? What are the memories of how you are said to one another? Listen, look, feel, pay attention to that. And indeed, it was so. Namaste.
I'd like to invite you to join me in singing our hymn, number 1012 in the turquoise hymnal, When I Am Frightened by Shelley Jackson Denham. When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me, sing to me quietly? Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Okay, a memory from 15 years ago, almost. Very first water communion, I was here. The worship team had everybody, all ages, dancing in a big circle around the sanctuary. Love to remember when we could dance around the sanctuary. And we all seemed to be going counterclockwise. We had streamers that were blue and green, all these watery colors. And as we were going around, I noticed there was passing one elderly gentleman going in the opposite direction. And I said, "You're going in the opposite direction." And as we passed one another there amongst the pews, and he said, "I am the countercurrent." And indeed, that's how I got to meet John Norris, one of our elders, who I have so many fond memories of over the years, both tender and funny moments as he got ill and died. And we had a wonderful memorial service for him with bagpipes. And we still in contact with his widow. So many memories. And I don't know where to begin. So the first thing I did this week was I read every single annual report I wrote, 15 annual reports. And all I can tell you is by the time I finished reading them, I was just exhausted. That exhaustion is probably the reason that when you're 70, you retire, right? And I started counting. I could handle it. And I'm not a numbers person, but I started like counting things because it was the only way I could like make my way through it. So I'm just going to throw out some numbers. 1 capital fund drive and 1 renovation, 2 installations and 2 sabbaticals, 7 ordinations, 10 task forces, and that's only the ones I was on. You've had many more than 10. 30 weddings, 40 memorial services. We've dedicated 55 children, and I've done more than 450 worship services times 2. And I would just guess I did about the same number of going to meetings. And every year I noticed there were more and more community conversations, which made me very happy that became part of who we were. And then there was my job as a mentor and as a supervisor. I mentored 2 ministers in preliminary fellowship. I supervised 5 interns. Supervised 5 interns. I supervised a staff of 11. Built a great staff. And I supervised 13 field placement ministry students. Just too many numbers. And yet my memories, as I just sit with those numbers, were all about working in teams with you. Wonderful teams in covenant where we got to grow together, become ever more ourselves. Now, as I stepped back, I saw the larger cycles, and the same cycles that we live over and over again in institutions. I came in the new kid on the block. I was not part of the system, and there were some good things about that because I could see things objectively for a very brief time, but that was wonderful for everybody. But it was very clear I did not know the Southern culture, and I knew the honeymoon was over when you said to me, don't ever even try to say y'all again, because you don't say it correctly. We did a new vision and mission statements, and through all that, I became part of the system. I remember the most wonderful way for me to learn Southern culture was at Wednesday night dinner. And I remember one night where there were all these people who all grew up all over the South, and they were talking about the many nuanced meanings of the phrase, bless your heart. And I felt now I understood the culture that I was in. And maybe not exactly. But after I realized I was part of the system when one of you said to me, Gail, now you're irritated by all the same things about this church that we're all irritated about. There, I was in the system. And then we had to really think through whether how long I was going to be in the system. After I went on sabbatical, and then that 7th year when I was back, there was a lot of discernment. It was hard for people to say, oh, girl, do we want you to continue with us? And hard for me to say, do I want to continue with you? But that year was a year of great vulnerability. There was some real illness in the congregation, several people very ill, and my husband became very ill, and I actually had an accident and had to have an operation. And during all of that very transparent vulnerability and transparent strengths of the congregation, we recommitted to each other, I think in a deeper, more trusting, more loving, more accepting way. And here I've been for another 8 years. Because of that time, and it takes time to build that kind of trust, we were able to go deeper into our spiritual lives. I know I was. For instance, I felt called by Spirit to start preaching extemporaneously. And I'll tell you, I know I didn't do it that well the first year. And you held me through that. You trusted that it was important for me to follow Spirit. And I believe it helped me express with you a deeper heart connection. But we also were able to take more risks in the greater community. You had already built deep, profound, trusting relationships with many of the justice leaders in this community. And over those first 7 years, I was able to build more what you call public friendships of trust. And because of those public friendships of trust that you made, that I made, we have been able to work with allies to really try to institutionalize, embody real change around racism, around different faiths working together. As I looked at the things I enjoyed the most were like being called and saying, Gail, come down here to City Hall. We're doing a press conference with people who are leaders all over the community to support the Community Oversight Board for the police. Or come on over to City Hall right now, Gail, because we're going to do a flash mob prayer, and we need you to be praying in that Metro Council. for a community, that was for the first community benefits agreement for economic justice. Diverse groups of leaders coming together, taking risks. Those were 2 successful campaigns for which all of us in the city are grateful right now that we had. So much more work to do together to institutionalize justice. Precious moments along the way. And in the end, big picture, numbers, they mean nothing to me. What means something to me, and I'm sure to you, are those moments, heart to heart, mind to mind, where we changed one another, where we called each other into being our true selves, our true selves. And I have been enjoying this online scrapbook that you get to on the web through saying goodbye to Gail, because the pictures and the comments people have made bring back those moments for me. And it's going to be up all month. Please continue to use it. I have found such much joy in it, and I hope you do too. So we just have a few more moments, but I'd like to end by saying that when I got here, I came because this church was already deeply, profoundly committed to both shared ministry and to covenant. And yet together, we have lived into that and learned so much more about how we can share ministry, how we can live in covenant and teach others to do the same. I remember when I first got here, people would always call me up and say, I'm really irritated by this other person that we're supposed to be working on some project at church for, and could you call them into your office and talk to them? Now, I taught junior high, which was probably one of the greatest challenges in my life. And I knew that the person who did that work was the vice principal in the junior high in charge of discipline, and I did not want that job. And so what I would say to people is, you have to talk to them yourself, work in covenant with each other, and part of that is direct communication. But I'm happy to coach you on that. And if it's really scary to do that, I will let both of you come into the office at the same time. Quickly, you took that on. Quickly, I was out of that job, thank goodness. And I would notice that if somebody was being, let's say, breaking covenant, being disruptive in some way in the social hall, I didn't have to go over and talk to them. So many of you took on that responsibility. Together, you held covenant and helped hold each other accountable in such loving, supportive ways. For instance, now this was somebody very close to me, was yelling at somebody. They were frustrated in the social hall, and people surrounded them, that person close to me calmed down, got somebody else feeling safe. And since there were still hard feelings, the safe congregation panel, which you already had, talked to that person, got them both together to talk. The responsibility for covenant you all shared. So meaningful to me, both personally and as your leader. So what I noticed then is that you started making policy to help you deal with the most difficult situations. The most difficult situations. You formed a disruptive member policy, which you only have had to use a couple times, where you ask somebody, you've broken covenant, do you over and over again in a very egregious way, do you want help in supporting keeping covenant? And most people, when you ask them that, would say yes. Only 2 people said no, and they had to leave the church because they could not agree to keep covenant. It's a two-way street. That was hard. That was hard. Just one example. But together, We have learned to be deeper, more connected, being able to talk about more and more painful, difficult things. We could not do our work on racial justice and dismantling white supremacy culture without being able to talk about real pain of being oppressed, the real pain of being part of the oppressor class and having to change some deep assumptions and learn about our ignorance. In the weeks ahead, we will continue to remember, and that will help us not only say goodbye, but be able to be ready, each in our own way, for new cycles, for you to be able to welcome in a new senior leader, for you to be able to learn to trust them, to welcome them into the system slowly, and to build trust together so you can continue to take risks with your own souls and with this work of justice in our community. So all I can say now is thank you, and let's continue to share those memories. May it be so.
Our closing song is Love Will Guide Us, and I love it when a plan comes together. Thank you, Gail, for working with me to create such a beautiful musical flow. Will you join me in singing Love Will Guide Us? Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot see like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace is dry us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
The words for our chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Zella Jones. They're at the bottom of the order of service if you'd like to join with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Telling the stories, sharing the memories, giving thanks for the relationships, for the understandings, the experiences past that have shaped us to this day. This is loving and being loved. I love you. Love never dies. This service is over. Let our service begin again, renewed.